Buyers are finally starting to get a slight edge in the Yorba Linda housing market. Now, is this just the start of a long-term trend, or is this a window of opportunity that buyers can take advantage of right now that might close in a few months? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about on today's episode, as well as a bunch more when I go over my July housing market forecast for Yorba Linda. So let's go ahead and get into it. So as a real estate agent, over the last 2 months, I have definitely seen a shift in the Yorba Linda housing market. However, I always like to back up what I'm feeling with some actual data, and when I pulled up the data, it is showing the same thing as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at that now so you can get a better understanding of what's actually happening in the Yorba Linda housing market. And let's first start with inventory. So right now, there are about 151 homes on the market in Yorba Linda. Now, if you're not tracking homes every single day, that probably doesn't mean much to you, so let's give you some context. So just last month, June 1st, we only had 118 homes on the market. And if you look at last year at this time, we actually had 60% less homes on the market in Yorba Linda than we do today. So you can see that inventory is definitely going up significantly in Yorba Linda, especially over the last couple months. Now, when you look on the opposite side of things, so the demand side of things, in the month of June, we closed 48 homes in Yorba Linda. The previous month was 58. So we're closing less homes in Yorba Linda. More homes are hitting the market. So this is leading to a market that is definitely slowing down in favor of the buyer as we head through summer. And we can see this in a lot of other data as well. So for instance, in the month of June, only 42% of all homes in Yorba Linda closed for at or above asking price. Now you look at the previous month, that was at 55%. So it's a pretty significant drop in the amount of homes that are closing at or above asking price. And when you look at how fast homes are going into escrow, that also had a pretty significant drop as well. So when you look at the month of June, only 48% of homes went into escrow in less than 2 weeks. Now, if you look at the previous month, that was at 63%. So we saw a 15% drop in the amount of homes that were going into escrow in less than 2 weeks. And if you look out a little bit further in terms of how many homes went into escrow in a month, in the month of June, it was 69%, and the previous month, it was 79%. So again, we saw a decent dip in the amount of homes going into escrow in a month or less in the Yorba Linda market. And this is just all showing that we are seeing the market slow down. And when I'm out there on a day-to-day basis, it's definitely noticeable. Now, the other positive thing for buyers out there right now is interest rates are still gradually heading down. So at the beginning of June, interest rates were still almost at 7%. However, today, as I'm recording this on July 3rd, interest rates are down to 6.75. So they've dropped 0.25%, which is going to make homes more affordable. And at the same time, you have more options to choose from because homes are hitting the market a little bit quicker right now. Now, while we're talking about interest rates, going back to the beginning of this video, when I was talking about is this going to be a long-term trend or something that's just a window of opportunity for buyers right now, it has everything to do with what interest rates do over the next couple months. Because right now we're hovering at 6.75. However, we have seen that if it goes below 6.5, especially for a few weeks in a row, there is going to be a lot of buyer demand re-entering the marketplace, which is going to stabilize the market, and you're going to see more houses get multiple offers again, and inventory coming off the market a lot faster, giving us a more stable housing market if that happens. And we saw this happen back in September and October of 2024, where interest rates were below 6.5 for a few weeks. We saw an explosion of buyers into the market, and the market started heating up, and we started to see homes going above asking price again. So really, this window of opportunity is all going to depend on what interest rates do over the next couple months. So it's something that as a buyer, you definitely want to look for. And just know that interest rates are still predicted to go down in the long term. So at some point, it's probably going to drop below that 6.5%. Is that going to be in a few months? Is that going to be next year? It's really hard to say, but right now there is a window of opportunity. And as long as rates don't go below that 6.5% mark, buyers are going to have a good amount of time to go check out homes. Homes are not flying off the market right now. Find the perfect dream home, be able to have better negotiating power, and maybe be able to get that home a little bit below what the last comparable sale went for in that neighborhood. Okay, so with all these changes happening in the marketplace right now, what is my advice for both buyers or sellers who are thinking of getting into the market? Let's go ahead and start with buyers first. So buyers, yes, you could definitely start getting excited because for the first time in a while, you finally have a slight advantage in this marketplace. So interest rates are going down, inventory is up, which is all positive things for you if you're thinking about buying a home. But you do also have to realize this is not 2008. Home prices are not going to plummet 30%, and you're going to be waiting around to grab those deals. We just don't have the data to support that's going to happen anytime soon. However, if interest rates do remain in the high 6% range and they don't drop, there's definitely a case to be made by the end of year to see home prices drop maybe 2 or 3%. And so you can definitely take advantage of that when you're going out placing offers and looking for homes. Now, speaking of advantages, really for buyers, the biggest advantage that I'm seeing out there right now is seller anxiety. So right now, sellers have their homes, they're sitting on the market for a couple weeks now. They're not used to this happening because over the last couple years, homes were flying off the market and they're getting a little scared. Anytime sellers get scared or nervous, there could be opportunity for buyers out there to come in, offer a price slightly lower than the last comparable sale in the neighborhood, and sellers are going to look at those offers as a reasonable offer to take. Now, this doesn't mean that every seller out there is going to start offering discounts on their home, because there are plenty of homes out there that are in good locations, that are move-in ready, and great neighborhoods with amenities close by that are still selling above asking price, getting multiple offers, going into escrow in less than a week. So just because the market is softening doesn't mean that in every situation you're going to see sellers accept lower than asking offers right now. And one of the main reasons is sellers are in a much better financial position than they were previously, because they have a giant amount of equity built up in their home. 40% of all homes in the United States have no mortgage whatsoever, and the ones that do often have 5% or less mortgage rates. So unless they absolutely have to move because of a work-related issue or family getting expanded or shrinking, most sellers are okay saying, if my house doesn't sell for market value right now, I'm just gonna take it off the market, enjoy my low mortgage rate, and wait until next year to sell. So you have to understand that yes, you do have a little bit of an advantage right now, but it's not something we're gonna be able to go out and ask for 10% discounts on homes and sellers take you seriously. So what should you be doing if you do want to take advantage of this window of opportunity where buyers do have that slight edge? Well, number one, if you haven't talked to a lender yet, that's the first thing on your list that you need to do. It's completely free. Talking to them is not going to hurt your credit score. They're not going to try to rope you into buying a house. The good lenders out there are just there to give you all the information you need about your finances so you can have a better understanding of what type of home you can afford, and then figure out if now is a good time for you to actually start looking for homes. Now, if you don't have a trusted lender that you have been working with and you need a recommendation, feel free to reach out to me. Depending on where you're watching this, you can find my contact info either in my bio or the description below. I have a couple great lenders that can walk you through the loan side of things, get all of your questions answered to make sure you're fully confident before you decide to enter the housing market and start looking for a home. Then either at the same time or after you get that pre-approval, now's the time to start talking to your trusted real estate agent to be able to go over your specific situation, come up with a game plan to figure out if maybe now's a good time to buy, or even if it's 6 months or a year away, what you need to be doing and coming up with that plan. So that way, when you are ready to purchase a home, you fully understand the process, you're working with an agent, you're working with a lender, and you're ready to hit that ground running. Now, if you do have any specific questions and want to set up a free discovery call with me anytime, again, depending on where you're watching this, click the link in my bio or the description below where you can set up a free 15-minute discovery call, get your questions answered. No obligations, no pressure. I just want you to better understand what you're getting into when you purchase a house and make sure you get the questions answered to figure out if now is a good time for you to buy or not. Now, on the selling side, you really need 3 things: proper pricing, proper expectations, and patience. So if you've been thinking of putting your home on the market, you really need to sit down and have that long conversation with an honest agent and honestly look at things like the condition of your home, the location of your home, the market in that specific neighborhood that you live in, and what you're going to need to do to make sure you're competitive enough to be able to get your home sold when there's going to be a lot of other homes on the market, most likely in the same area. So the other thing you need to have a conversation about with your agent is the proper expectations for timelines right now, because that is definitely becoming a big issue. Because like I stated before, less than half of all homes that are on the market are going into escrow in less than 2 weeks. So if you don't have the proper expectations, especially if you're trying to purchase another property while you're selling yours, it's just going to end up being a big disappointment. I'm seeing it time and time again where sellers are getting their house on the market and then they're going out immediately looking for homes, placing offers, only to see that their house is not getting the offers they wanted and having to withdraw their offers or cancel escrow on the home that they wanted to move to because their home wasn't selling as quick as they thought. So you need to make sure that you understand the market, how fast homes are going on and off the market, and come up with a strategy to make sure that the timelines that you need are going to be properly met based on that specific strategy. Now, like I stated in the section for buyers, sellers, it's not all doom and gloom. There are still plenty of homes out there that are going into escrow relatively quickly in less than 2 weeks when they're properly priced, they're move-in ready, and they're in a good neighborhood that has all the amenities that buyers are looking for. Those homes are still going into escrow relatively quickly. But you need to have that conversation and have that realistic expectation that if your house has a little bit of deferred maintenance, it might be a better idea to start actually doing some of that maintenance to get your house more competitive out there if you want to get a higher price for your home, and then really going through with a fine-tooth comb with your agent, figuring out what repairs are going to give you the most amount of value in terms of what you're going to net from it, and figure out what needs to be done before your house hits the market. Now more than ever, if your house isn't perfectly presented and priced correctly and everybody else in the neighborhood is, your house is going to be sitting on the market longer and longer and longer, and the longer it sits, typically, the numbers have shown this, the less you're going to end up getting for your home. So although it might not be fun, doing a little bit of extra work before your home hits the market is going to make a giant difference in terms of how fast your home gets sold right now. And if you don't want to do that type of work, it's completely fine. You just have to understand that most likely, depending on your neighborhood, you're probably going to have to price your home a little bit less than the last comparable sale to make sure it does get sold. So if you are thinking of buying or selling a home anytime in the near future and you have a few questions, again, please take advantage of that free 15-minute discovery call with me. Depending on where you're watching this, you can find it in the link in my bio or the description below. I'd love to be able to help you out. No pressure, just want to be able to get those questions answered. And if you are thinking of moving into Yorba Linda and you want to know more about the pros and cons of living here, make sure you check out this video right here to give you a full explanation of why you should and maybe shouldn't decide to move to Yorba Linda. So until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you on the next show. Bye, everybody.